and come forward with a bit more of an impressive performance. But they're up against GameWard today, who are a team that have shown us a really strong performance thus far.
Yeah, really cognizant players, certainly being incredibly smart. You talked about Inax and Camilius, highest KDA of anybody in the league, let alone bot laners. They are currently performing incredibly well, and we're looking to see if that can continue. Looking at the bans already, the Callista taken away from Inax after a stellar performance yesterday,
The Lucian
where
as
they were
well.
quite happy to take it very early on. The Lucian taken away as well. You can see that BDS Academy fearful of the bot lane of GameWard. Two bans focused down there, and this leaves us with a lot of high tier picks open. Lily is still available, the Viego, the Wukong, the Talia that we also see as well, all open and available. There's a lot of powerful picks on the board, and now GameWard have to choose where they want to go with it, because typically they have focused a lot on trying to either secure Gangplank or move away from it and get it out of the ban list. Now we've got that Wukong first of all. We get to see what BDS Academy respond with Lilia being open. Wouldn't be surprised to see Shio default back to that pick.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. He actually hasn't played it, or has he? Sorry, I can't remember if he's played it. He's definitely played a lot of games with Viego. I know he's played the Lee Sin as well. That was a weird. We had with Shio, it's been strange since the beginning of the split. He's had priorities towards other champions. Viego is obviously one that he has, but he's also seen him play things like Graves and the Lee Sin when other champions have been available. I'm interested to see him go back to this Viego here. Probably going to be the Karma pickup here as well, I'd imagine, for support, or more of an Enchanter style for Dream Race.
And with enchanters obviously being so powerful, no shock in trying to take the karma, but I do still think that with the quality and the quantity of powerful picks available, Ezreal, actually certainly one of them, Crowny as well, has been playing Ezreal fairly frequently. Would love to get him on board, make sure that they've got this adaptation and got this ability to continue to play toward Adam, toward Rika, that top side of BDS Academy that have been so highly favoured for BDS. They've really looked to try and snowball them. But GameWard immediately challenging this Ezreal pick. They can't take the Callista lane because it got banned away, so they go for the Kai'Sa Nautilus. Kai'Sa Nautilus, kill lane in its own right. You've got a couple plasma procs from the Nautilus to begin with, and then of course if Inax can get in there, get just a couple of auto attacks down with Hail of Blades, you tend to do a very sizable chunk of damage very early on. I actually really like this Braum pick from Dream Race. It denies a lot of what GameWard were looking to. He's a very good disengaged support to try and play up against what is already a very dive-centric composition for GameWard.
He actually hasn't played it this season yet, which is his first time we'll be seeing him on this Braum. Traditionally, you see Dream Race more as you're a Khan player, plays a lot of Yumi. We've seen him play it in this split as well when he came in to replace. Interesting to see him on that. I think traditionally known as a counter to Nautilus. I think it's a good pick here.
Second round of bans, though, with Azir taken off the board. Mid laners certainly going to be the focus for BDS Academy, with their focus tending to be toward 5 picking for Adam. We'll have to see what Rika can go for. Obviously, has played a Victor game, played a Karma, which is banned away. We'll have to see if GameWard continue to take away those blinds and BDS take away the sort of good answers to what Rika's going for. We'll have to keep our eyes on that and what BDS Academy are going to focus on in their late game stages. They do have this chance to try and build themselves a bit of a poke composition as well, with Braum acting as that disengaged tool. With the Ezreal already locked in, their composition not too defined just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we get this final banner, we're going to get like you say, I'd imagine it'll be a blind pick for mid lane. They do often default to playing for Adam in this counter pick. A lot of the time, the problem for BDS Academy is that counter pick doesn't end up being something that really gives them many fruitful benefits within the game. We saw the Garen come out; it was a bit of a tragedy. I think everyone saw what happened when in that regard. But hopefully, we can see from Adam some of the stronger performances when he gets his matchup right. This guy is still very, very good. You saw his performance on the Olaf against Akshan a few games ago against Solari, completely took over the game in a way that made it completely unplayable for the enemy.
Yeah, and we'll need to see if he has an answer this time around. The GP likely to get locked in. Melonic very favoured for the Gangplank, and I think that a lot of LFL top laners certainly favour this pick if they can get away with it. So the blind pick of the Gangplank has been thrown down. We'll see what Adam responds with. Mid laners to answer now for BDS Academy, or rather for GameWard. I really like the Vex Hover, honestly. Their composition so far is a lot of going in. Would not be surprised to see them go back to that Vex and continue with that. The LeBlanc locked in, which is a champion that we have seen really drastically fall off in the meta, just given the durability changes made this champion a lot harder to try and execute on.
Lasan
So
I'd say
with
Lissandra. I was gonna say Lissandra, but Oriana's been locked in.
yeah, it's a difficult one for BDS. I think the LeBlanc's still going to have a fair semblance of power early stages, but we need to see Checo really get away with at least
Ooh,
farming very well.
I like this R5. So this champion, good friend of mine, is a grandmaster top laner, and he is raving and ranting to me every single day about how good this champion is on this patch right now. He
Mm.
actually only has it's only got a few things in lane that just completely demolish it. Like there's one or two champions which I won't be revealing. If they had picked it, it would have been the case. But yeah, this champion really strong on the durability patch. Massive fan of it. I think with how the games play out, we see games going really late. We've had like multiple 40-minute games.
Mm-hmm.
Testament last couple of splits. You really get the chance to scale up in these games. I feel like you're now forcing GameWard are somewhat forced into that ticking time bomb situation whereby they have to dedicate some resources towards his top side. Because if Adam can get beneficial wave states and allow himself to scale up and he gets covered around these bad wave states, then he's just going to be able to scale up and be an absolute monster in this game.
Very true, very true. It's sort of matching scaling with scaling, right? We tended to see GP and Kale both picked into the Ornn because they were two picks that they couldn't necessarily punish the Ornn, but they would do very well. And now we get to see the matchup against one another to see who can come out on top.
On to the rift now. Oh, I was wondering what the hell that sound was, Rude. I believe it's Shio dancing, or what was that?
You know, I'm not familiar with every Skinlines dance sound. I'm sorry. There's a limit to the knowledge. There's a limit to the capacity.
I don't like this from you because you're meant to know everything.
Yeah, you know what? So, I don't like it from me
that's
either. It makes me feel bad when you ask me.
Yeah. Inax is in a bush here, though. And he is going to walk out just about in time. Inax, time and time again, shows this kind of weird sixth sense. I saw it, remember I believe it was the second game they played. He was about to walk into a bush and he just walked away from it without knowing.
Can I talk about tri-brushes for a second? And you can try and check me about this.
Okay.
That's the worst place to stand in a tri-brush. At level 1, I hate standing there. That feels like if an enemy team does their prep, for example, you should pick, if BDS pick Blitzcrank and blind hook that spot, you die, right? You have to burn flash and you can potentially die after.
Yeah,
the way
they didn't.
No, but listen. Imagine Dream Race cues that bush and they go in and they force flash out. If you stand in the river where the river meets the grass on the bot side, you have enough time to get there and you spot everybody coming in regardless. It is 100% safe and you don't have to ever risk dying. Like if that was a Nautilus, for example, if it was something else, standing there, granted this game, he does get away with it, and maybe it's based off of the game specifically.
Well, enough about hypotheticals that haven't happened. Onto the game, 2v2. What is actually happening on our screen is hook onto AD carry here. Crown is getting taken quite low here. Ignite does come down, exhaust in return. Dream Race tries to return some fire here, but that's a very heavy trade early for Inax and Camilius.
Exactly what Kaiser Nautilus wants to do. We talked about this being a kill lane. You've got Camilius, obviously, with 2 procs of Plasma. At level 1, he has that auto attack to apply the first. The Q can do the second, whichever way around they end up going for it. And Crowny, with no secondary summoner spell to be defensive, is incredibly scared right now in this laning phase. Has burned his only source of disengage until level 2. But you can see that Camilius constantly looking for these hooks. Dream Race quite wisely, constantly looking to block them. It's an incredibly greedy route.
Another trade onto Dream Race, that W as well, doing so much damage. And Ezreal and Braum, traditionally you think of it, the Braum, you get to pick it into melee supports to get a bit of leeway, but Camilius and Inax really pushing that early level advantage.
This is a very greedy start from Crowny as well. The TP on top of the tier is just 0 laning stats whatsoever, 0 ability to combat during this laning phase. So this is GameWard hopefully being able to punish quite heavily. Akabane already down here has done a 4-camp clear into this bot side. They can kill Dreamer Ace, honestly, under this turret. This is going to be very good for them to get an extra injection of gold and some more resources into Inax.
They are fully aware of it happening. Dreamer Ace does have that flash. As here comes the dive now. Inax going here. Teleport is coming in from Oriana, though, but first blood goes on to Akabane. Can they get Crowny and get out? Camillus has died to the turret now. One more turret shot onto Akabane, and it's 2 for 1 for GameWard.
So worth it though. Camillus dies, he doesn't care, he gets a fast reset in this case. 2 kills for Akabane, who has cleared his entire top side, isn't going to lose anything for this, and he can just default back to clearing his camps now. The entire BDS Academy lose out on a fair wave down in that bot side. Crowny uses TP to go to mid lane to sponge a little bit of CS there, but they burn 2 summoner spells with TPs, they get 2 kills on the bot side, and GameWard have absolutely demolished this early stage of the bot lane.
Absolutely blown it wide open, and we spoke about this being a major point of contention, is this bot lane. When the games go really badly for BDS Academy, it's when Crowny racks up these early deaths. Really can snowball into some very bad and detrimental things for them here. And they were aware of this coming. They primed the teleport.
Like you say, right, they knew this was inbound. The second that teleport comes through, it's unfortunately already too late. I really like the focus onto Dreamer Ace just because he was the lower HP target. Even with that unbreakable shield up, Inax is still able to really cut through it. And then they sort of reevaluate halfway through the dive and say, hey, can we get Crowny as well? Yep, we've got the damage to do it. Let's try and take him down. And they managed to get to Rika's CP secures 1 assist. Overall, like I said, very beneficial play for GameWard, and they really are trying to utilize this Kai'Sa Nautilus up against the very weak laning of the BDS bot lane to a certain semblance of success.
Yeah, absolutely. I think important to note as well is that Wukong was the one picking up both the kills there, so it's now going to be on him to translate that level, well, not the level, translate the item lead rather, into meaningful benefit. And get invaded on Raptors here. One of the things that has happened now is Shio's going to take that 2-camp lead, extend this into a 3rd camp. He knows where Wukong is, walks into the Raptors here, going to get those rather easily, get that vision, try and translate, if they can get any bot pro, into an early Drake as well.
That may be a little difficult. Obviously, like you mentioned, up in farm and up in CS, but those items obviously going to be in Akabane's favour owing to those first couple kills. Going to need to reset his Raptor camp and then go take the red buff. Awkward hook for Camillus, gets Crowny a free exit. But you can see that BDS Academy, they're playing hopefully to try and avoid Wukong. Whenever anybody gets 2 kills early on, you should be trying to avoid taking fights with them. Unfortunately, Akabane, as the jungler, can really roam around the map and engage fights at will, given good lane states. I want to quickly address the situation in top lane as well, because Melonic set up a freeze, has since found a recall angle and is in a good spot as well. Hook bot lane though, just a little bit of trading.
A little bit of trading, as you say. Starting to build this slow push. Akabane's waiting around the side. They might do a repeat of this. No response apart from Adam's TP.
Yeah, Crowny's got flash, but this time around, so that makes it a little bit more difficult. You can just see that they don't know that there's a Wukong here, but they're sort of guessing at this point. They're like, well, he could be, and that's quite scary.
No, as well. Checolat's here. Flash forward. Gangplank ult comes out as well from Melonic. Dream Race is on the turret now. Has flash and exhaust available. He was on the way as well, but going to mean much. Going to hand the kill over to Inax.
Settle for the support. Still another kill goes over to GameWard, repeating the dive on the bot side. A successful play once again for the GameWard bot lane, as BDS just struggling to really find any sort of answers, with Shio not there in time and Akabane again sacrificing his farm for the sake of getting Inax leads. I'll have to see whether or not that ends up being beneficial to GameWard in the later stages. We know that Inax has been a very powerful carry, very reliable source of damage for the squad throughout these early stages and throughout the start of this season, so hopefully that can continue. First Dragon not yet secured by either of the teams, and we're getting to that point where we're potentially going to see a Herald for Drake trade, with both of them being spawned within the next 30 seconds or so.
Important to bring attention to is when that Herald comes in, Dream Race is level 3. Normally you think about a strategy a lot of these teams will utilize is putting that support into the mid lane, leashing a little bit of that XP to just make up the difference to level 6. Dream Race is going to have to make up the difference to even get level 5 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Checo at this point can one-shot the Braum, right, to a close degree.
In lands, Dream Race is here. Chocolate is completely safe.
Stalks back, no real concern. And I'm curious about now where we end up seeing that priority lane by junglers. She obviously down on this bot side. May look to secure the dragon, but with Melonic again sourcing a very good freeze in that top side, it could be difficult for BDS to really get any moves across that top side of the rift. Although on this bot side, they have got a fair numbers advantage. 4v2 down in the bot side of the map, as you can see that it is just Dreamerace trying to clear out some vision, make sure the bot lane is a little bit more worried, and yeah, it is just going to be that bot side pressure that amounts to a dragon. BDS Academy.
Yeah, and I think if you're sheer, you sort of have to, you're sort of locked into this trade almost. You need to get this dragon reset, do your top camp, so those aren't threatened. You have to trade down or the Rift Herald because Dreamerace is such an XP deficit from some of these bot lane dives that you're never going to win a full 5-on-5 entourage skirmish on the top side. You sort of just have to take that trade right now and just be happy with it.
Yeah, very good sort of trading coming through between the junglers, and I think that unanimously teams will prefer the early Herald as opposed to the early Dragon just because of the amount of gold that you can get from it. It really does come down to, well, you know, how much do they get from the Herald as to whether or not it was truly worthwhile. The expectation is at the very minimum 2 plates. You tend to be able to secure a few more, and now we have to keep our eyes on Akabane, who has since made up that experience deficit and may now look to try and break open some jungle invades with Shio down a level but clearing through his top side of the jungle. He's just a little late to that play. Doesn't matter though, as GameWard still with a very sizable advantage through the early game.
Yeah, completely agree with you, Rude. They built up quite a sizable advantage here. It's only going to further balloon onwards as they try and get the Herald down. For me, well, you rather, it's a question I'd like to posit to you. Where would you like to see this Herald being directed towards? Where do you think the attention has to come from for the GameWard to snowball the game forward?
I think they can keep using it bot lane. I'd really like to see them continue to try and punish Crowny and make this Kai'Sa Nautilus pick something that can snowball them through the game. They've got 4 minutes still. That's enough time to go bot lane, put the plates down, take the turret, and potentially move up to this top side and secure even more plates for Inax if they want to swap Melonic down to the bot side. I think that that's just a good way to go. Continue to snowball this Kai'Sa, put her in a position that you can't really ever come back from. As BDS Academy, we touched on the compositional aspects of GameWard. They are very dive-centric with Kai'Sa, Wukong, and that Nautilus. The 3 people that are diving never really have a chance of dying because they can kill everybody else before they're the ones that get taken out. I see no issue with GameWard going through the game.
I'm going to be, or at least having knowledge that Akabane and Camillus have walked in here. They can cut them off here. If BDS Academy don't find an engage, they can quite easily turn around and put that Herald down. Camillus going to get engaged on. Ezreal comes down, reset. Camillus gets it to stasis slightly before the ultimate damage, or slightly after the ultimate damage comes through, and that doesn't mean he drops out here. They were trying to set up around this bot wave, but Camillus a little bit too slow on the stasis there. It means he does get picked up by the Viego ult. I like the idea. Just a bit slow on the fingers.
Yeah, GameWard trying to do their due diligence, unfortunately just not quite ready to go for it in its entirety.
Oh, it's going to be Inax ulting in though.
Wow, okay.
And the Orianna ult doesn't even time through here to get an extra turret shot or so, but that was great there.
I was expecting that to just be a quick trade by Checo and then an out, and then all of a sudden in comes Inax with the killer instinct. Quick little one-bop from the Kai'Sa, able to completely explode Rika under that turret. And granted, it's not the Herald going down, but an extra kill onto your mid lane is something that will be very beneficial. We do need to see Checo be a little careful here. He's getting collapsed on in that mid lane.
And he's going to have to flash away there. Adam's rotating into the mid lane here. He's going to lose priority on the top wave here. He get crashed in. Melonic should reset. Melonic having a slight lead now. And we spoke about this during the pre-game about how Adam not having a lot of attention diverted to him could be a problem for GameWard if he's able to free scale through this game. We're at the 12-minute mark. He's headed for around about 9 CS a minute. Let's miss the cannon there. Bit of a nightmare, but Rude dude, how are we feeling in terms of this lane being left alone?
Really good for Kayle. Honestly, every single time a Kayle gets a level, you're thinking, okay, one step closer. It's the classic Kassadin meme, right? Where it's just a ticking time bomb until you reach level 16. Once you get there, you're going to be very well poised. I'm curious about what build path Adam goes for, because this isn't anything that I would have expected to see thus far. This is actually looking to hold this freeze, and
he's trying to hold the freeze. It's something that I've been seeing a lot more of recently. I'm not sure how much popularity it's quite garnered yet. There's an AD Kayle build that you can go. So go for the Kraken Slayer. It would allow Orianna to be solo AP, especially if she's opting in for a Shadow Flame or a Void Staff. Does give her a lot more a lot more potence. Let's see if he's done that. He has opted in for 2 long swords, so that would lead me to believe that is what he's actually going to end up doing.
expected noon quiver item, and I'll just wait and see. And you can be authority on AD Kale builds at the very least. More used to the Riftmaker Nash's 2 style myself, but GameWard do elect to put that Rift Herald down in the bot side as little check with the chain there, not going to come through. Turret falls.
He's on to Shio here. He gets ulted up here. Rika's gone quite low as well. Rika does not have ultimate. Akabane's on a killing spree. They're going to find Dream Race as well. There's 2 quick kills. It almost seems too easy for GameWard.
Yeah, I mean, the damage that was returned is quite literally negligible. I think Akabane is going to sustain all of that with red buff. And this just means that they're able to go into the jungle now, secure this dragon, get themselves back neutral on the board 1-for-1 in that aspect, and secure a couple of plates for Checolad as well, get this LeBlanc a little bit rolling, a little bit more accelerated through the game. Champion that certainly demands that. Obviously, we touched on the issues that LeBlanc faced, the durability patch really making her a lot more difficult to navigate, so getting the LeBlanc fed a little bit earlier, reaches that mythic nice and swiftly. Little pit stop for a Dark Seal, but you know, no tier 2 boots, which is something that you tend to see from mages. It is Checo hard committing for Luden Zeko.
Absolutely, we see the fight here. Shio going slightly too aggressively here. Milius gets the ultimate, lands up onto 2. They just turn their attentions onto Rika. They know he doesn't have flash here. He's very immobile. With no flash on the Orianna, you can get a very useful ultimate out as well. And with this Divine Sunra picked up now with the Tabby as well, a lot of these skirmishes are going to make Viego a lot less, have a lot less damage in these skirmishes. It's going to make it even more beneficial for GameWard.
Yeah, Akabane right now is an absolute monster. You questioned how well is he going to be able to translate those early couple kills into leads across the map. Well, he secured a Herald, he secured Inax, first turret in the bot lane, and he's just secured Checo a good couple plates and a nice kill in the mid lane as well. So leveraging that early Wukong double kill into much more. Exactly what we were hoping to see from Akabane. Really good job thus far at putting pieces in the right direction. And also, just to give credit a little bit here over to Melonic, because has been left on that top lane island. Both of the top laners have, but Melonic was the one who reaches Trinity Force first, has secured that mythic, and is looking a little bit better poised for the side lane aspect, as he's currently alone in that bot side where BDS Academy are looking to secure themselves this Herald. We'll see if they're looking to try and find a fight here, because TP is available.
They're going to spot out Rika at any second now and realise this is a 4v5 if they do take it. Checolad's in. And he lands an ultimate onto Akabane. Doesn't do much damage. They are going to get this and be able to move out here, but it comes at the cost of a tier 2 turret. Not quite, actually. This wave will not be enough, I don't think. We get a lot of damage on it, though.
Yeah, it depends how long it takes for the rest of BDS to get back to this bot side. Melonic can clear waves with just 1 barrel at this point, right? You can clear the backline as soon as you complete your first Sheen item. So we're just waiting to see whether or not that turret gets taken down. A little bit of shadowing here, really nice stuff by the jungle support duo, just to ensure Melonic is not too far forward without the appropriate support. And it is that tier 2 turret trade, so 2 kills worth of gold going into Melonic's back pocket in exchange for that Rift Herald. And once again, the question becomes, can we see BDS Academy utilize this Rift Herald in a positive way, a way that nets them more than they lost for the exchange? Because if they can't, then obviously it wasn't worth it. But now onus is on Shio. Where are you going to place that Herald? The rest of BDS Academy at this point need to start trying to group up, because we're at that point now where a Rift Herald play isn't solely based off the jungle. It requires a little bit more setup and a bit more cohesion between the team.
Yeah, definitely going to be having to look at their specific lane assignments here. Does seem to be the case that GameWard focusing their attentions to breaking out their only, well, not the only tier 1 they don't have, but breaking out the other tier 1 in the top lane. Trying to take that out, open up the map, try and get more of that vision for around about when that Baron spawns. It's going to help them do that, and they can actually rotate down into the bot side for when this dragon spawns. Melonic's in a little bit of trouble here. 3 people, and he now knows that the Rift Herald's down. Sees 3 people, has an ultimate to slow down the Rift Herald, but it's not going to do much in terms of your wave here. You see GameWard, they're primed for that tier 2 top now. W comes out from Melonic, does a lot of damage onto Shio. Coming to run away here, Dream Race, ultimate forward, it's a good flash.
And 3 people committed down onto the bot side to force the flash out of Melonic and secure an objective bounty. Checolad could kill Shio here.
Let's come around the bottom side here. Shio has no flash, no ultimate. It's a great flash from Checolad. A late exhaust from Dream Race. Ultimate comes out. Checolad goes into clone here. Can Rika find the damage? He goes in for another W. This is big from Checolad. 1 more Q will do it. Melonic can't find the range though. Great fancy footwork from
Camilius is in
Camilius
there.
is over the wall here. That's Camilius.
Flash forced away from
he's
Crownie.
he's hit the blast cone
Yeah.
over the
Blast coned his way into the base and forces the flash from Crownie. I don't know that there was ever too much of a commitment. We can see Inax's mana pool is fairly low, so doesn't want to be going too ham on the Ezreal underneath the tier 3 turret. But once again, another beneficial trade for GameWard. They come out on top of that entire exchange, not just because they find the kill in the bot lane, but also because they get a more impactful turret in the top side. It's a tier 1 for tier 2 trade, once again in favor of GameWard, just moving their pieces around the map, not necessarily opting into these fights, but taking them when they're given. And Chocolate there with just a good roam down to that bot side, playing on the edge and playing with the LeBlanc very nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still so confused by Camilius being in the base there. It was like I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's Dream Race. And then no, it's Camilius. He's just an absolute intruder in the base. For no reason. It's like, how the hell did he get there?
It was a spicy one. This is... Well, now this is really important for BDS Academy, because I think if they lose this fight, then the game becomes exponentially harder. But it looks like GameWard are looking to just give it over. It's another objective bounty, and Checo's really junked.
Yeah, Checo's gone in quite aggressively here. He's going to have to make his way out through the mid lane. He's already been primed, though, for Inax. Inax gets that mid tier 1, and now the map is fully open. And although they do get that second dragon, BDS Academy, GameWard very happy to just have these 3 tier 1s, able to push their vision lines a bit more aggressively and now focus their efforts towards the Baron.
Okay, Jake, I'm gonna do this to you now. Talk to me about AD Kale. What is Adam? Where is the power lying here?
So a major logistical error or issue rather, than what you're asking me, is I know it exists. I don't know why it's good.
I see. Well, either way,
my job is the play-by-play. You know, I just say fancy words and like make it sound good. I don't actually know things. So like very much, I know the existence of it. I know that you can do it. I believe it probably has, you know, he has scalings on AD, I think, every ability apart from W, I'd imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you obviously a very heavy auto-attack champion, so once you get to these later levels with E as well.
Okay, conceptually, AD Kale very good. We just need to see how Adam looks to utilize it as we get later on, where this build path diverts to what Adam can achieve. When he hits level 16,
you go mixed damage as well. I don't think you go like full AD. You get a crack in. I'm not sure what else you get, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I don't think it's all AD.
Let's wait and see. Let's find out. Let's not hypothetical things that we don't know. Okay, BDS.
He's taking quite a lot of damage here. Might have to get out of here. Camilius is looking for an engage. Look at Checo on the flank though. Checo's coming from behind. He might find Crownie here. Done a lot of damage. He's chained out here. Akabani's found Braum though. Checo lad. Cooldowns. Flash. He found Crownie. Halo is used. He would come out. I'm going to turn straight towards the Baron now.
Kai'Sa does extremely quickly. The big purple worm will be of very little consequence to GameWard. They can take this down very quickly with that Phantom Dancer as well. Such a big 2-item spike for a Kai'Sa. And you can see Checo just running anchor, making sure that nobody's getting in. All it takes is a quick kill onto Dream Race. Sacrifices his life for the sake of Shio.
He's been so good in terms of just every single game that we see this guy Checo lad. He's able to find these incredible angles, really blow open the team fights. He's a really great pick player on one of these AP assassins. The LeBlanc, the Vex, he's just incredible on. Ari as well.
Yeah, Checo was playing a lot of LeBlanc in spring, and I mean this pick itself, like I say, may have fallen off, but Checo as a player certainly hasn't. Has continued to impress us in this spring, in this summer split. So obviously taking the LeBlanc, it's a big gauntlet, honestly, that you've gone for, but one that is rightly picked up, and now they're looking to chase down onto BDS.
And onto Dream Race, follows him through the wall. R2 not been found by Checo, but an unlucky one there.
You can see the build path already, 2 items secured for LeBlanc. Interesting to see what he'll go for next, whether it's going to be the Void Staff or the Rabadon's Death Cap. Those are your 2 like tending to go towards third items once you've got this core made setup. But with the Baron right now, GameWard should just be looking to get as much gold as possible from the map. They've got this mid-tier 2 to secure, and now they've completed the outer turrets. Everything that is not within inside the base has been taken down. And you can see the confidence Checo has Wing forward there, blind into the base, just to see what he can find.
He goes aggressively onto Crownie here, and he's straight out, like you're saying. Able to go so aggressively. Has teleport as well, so he can come back to the fray in any second.
Instantly pops it onto this control ward, and BDS just it's in the face of them, but they can't do anything about it. Still waiting, still hoping that this late game prophecy of a level 16 Kayle can prove to be enough. Adam has reached that second item. It is a Phantom Dancer, and that is, like I was talking about for Inax, a very good 2-item spike to be hitting. The question is it going to be enough, and can they get there in time as Chekolad continues to poke people out this Baron on second to last wave right now, charging through turrets as best as they can. GameWard not yet broken open the base, and in about 40 seconds time, it's worth noting that will probably spell the end of their push, but they can default back to an Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, they're going to have the option to do that. Tries to get a little bit more poke, upping his damage numbers at this point. Get this wave stacked. I think this is probably the final wave they can act on. It gets melted pretty quickly, and it's going to be the case. Like you said, able to sit themselves on quite a comfy cushion of 9k gold. Towards that second dragon as well, give them a bit of an extra damage push.
A little bit of a mismatch on the waves there. Would have liked to see GameWard try and stagger their bot lane or their mid lane so they could push in 2 waves at the same time, but not necessarily the worst thing in the world. They do get some good initial chip damage down, and like you say, this Infernal Dragon has been defaulted back to, and once this is taken off the board, expect GameWard to return their attention back to that top side setup for that next Baron, which is going to be coming through in about 2.5, 3 minutes time. So they can repeat the process once again. You know, we do keep mentioning that Adam on this Kayle is scaling up, and at a certain point will prove to be a bit of a monster. 0-0-0 so far. We haven't seen.
Double chain, shield's not there. Exhaust comes out from onto Chekolad. Shio has to ult out. X-Drinker gets popped, but Chekolad pings 14 with a killing spree. Has W, has flash. Most uses W. The range isn't quite there, but it's another kill. It's another 2 stacks on the Dark Seal for Chekolad.
Getting closer and closer to the pinnacle of LeBlanc, where you can just take down really anybody. We'll have to see how close he is to that second item, or third item, excuse me, Amptome in the inventory. Suggests it's not going to be the Rabadons straight up. But GameWard now, they've got this little bit of time now, and this is always an interesting point for me, how well teams through the mid to late game stages when there's nothing up are able to facilitate gold generation, right? Securing jungle camps is like the main point where you can steal away the enemy's jungle camps and secure those for yourself. It's a really good way at denying resources from BDS Academy. But for right now, they're just making sure that they're getting as much gold as possible, securing their own jungle camps as well, moving through the map as swiftly as they can, and making sure they're being very efficient with their time.
Observers, just as we get a little bit of a lull here, as it looks like BDS Academy are going to be going towards the mid lane turret. Can we have a check on how close Adam is to level 16?
Ooh, a cheeky check.
That's his gold.
Want to be?
He's about
halfway?
two-thirds? Two-thirds of the way.
Slowly getting there, and this turret as well going to help a little bit with the gold.
Yeah, she was going to get engaged on. Ultimate's up. Inax was off to the side, taking a lot of damage though. Has to ult out here, has to flash out here rather. Doesn't have the ult available. Chekolad's in. Has to use the flash there. You as well. Akabane has W in a few seconds to close that gap. Find the 1 onto Dreamer Ace. Not any more, but the Baron's coming up in around 30 seconds or so.
And that could prove to be enough. Dream Race will be alive for the spawn, but going to have to be walking all the way through, and BDS are going to be lacking wards. Want to touch quickly on what level 16 means for Kayle. It gives her an extra 50 range, which at this late game point is very substantial, and it means she is permanently exalted. The state that Kayle reaches, as you can see with these waves, she will be permanently like that. Does not require 5 attacks to hit those and get exalted in that manner. Level 16 reached, and now when we need to see Adam turn online. The team fights need to be about him. He's got set up with Rika with that shockwave, but he is the leading DPS source, working toward that Wits End as a third item to make sure that Chekolad doesn't just one-bop him. But now you've reached that point, Adam. We've hyped it up all game. The scaling has been built around you.
Here's my problem.
Can you perform the carry?
Chekolad has Ludens, Lighting Jewel, Shadow Flame, and Swords. I don't think this see engaged here from Akabane here. He's probably on the pink. Gangplank ult comes out. Chekolad's gone and used a lot of his cooldowns onto Crowny. Ultimate in response. Ult is stopping him from getting in. It's a good Orianna shockwave. Lands onto 2. Not much more is going to be gained there. Quick key cooldowns. Orianna ult, Ezreal ult used. Gangplank ult was used as well.
Good poke damage here, and you can see that BDS Academy just slowly worming their way back into the river, slowly getting themselves some vision, securing slight advantages. It comes at the cost of a couple of crucial teamfight ultimates. The Shockwave not going to be available for another minute or so. When Rika dings that level 16, that Orianna ultimate as well, going to be incredibly short on the cooldown. Currently only about a minute itself, and at level 16 goes down to about 45-50 seconds. So can be used as a pick tool very freely if you're looking to try and take somebody out. The issue that we've seen from GameWard is they're not particularly willing to give over free picks. Camille is the only one that has died this game, and as at Nautilus, that's pseudo-expected.
Yeah, Nautilus having to bear the brunt of a lot of these engages here, being the sacrificial lamb. And to be the one that exhausts this LeBlanc, tries to save Crownie or Rika's life. We see the teleport come in here. Rika, in advance of that dragon.
Spawning in about 45 seconds now means that BDS Academy have this choice to make, and so do GameWard. Where do the teams want to focus? Because this isn't a soul for either of the teams. It's going to be soul point at best case for them to see where they're going to put their priorities. Obviously, Baron is going to be much more impactful than one dragon itself. But if you commit to this next Drake, you could get one in 5 minutes time. The Baron started, and Shio's here.
Chocolate finds a lot of damage, though. The Hex Drink is going to be almost procced. Here's a lot of damage from Adam. Chocolate's gone back. Leandri's burned. There it goes. The Baron gets out. Gone. GameWard gets it. One kill. Chocolate buys a lot of time there. They're going to get the dragon in response there, but a 1-0 favor of BDS Academy, but they do get the Baron.
Pressure on GameWard for the next 3 minutes. What can they secure with this Baron? They give a shutdown over to the Orianna. They give the Dragon over as well. If GameWard don't secure themselves some meaningful objectives in the next 3 minutes, this is going to be a very big win for BDS Academy. They've got themselves this Dragon now, which puts them at Soul Point, puts a timer on GameWard unless they want to give over the Infernal Soul. And as well, they need to make sure that they're breaking open the base. Every time this Kale picks up farm, picks up gold, she's getting closer and closer to another item. We've dinged that level 16 point where her champion is fully unlocked. We need to see those items continue to funnel in and see where we're going next, really, because 305 farm, right? It's not the most in the game, but it's certainly close to. And Adam, continually, as we build him up as this big carry in the late game, there's a reason for it. It's going to be scary.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the problems we talked about was how much can he get done. With Chocolate here, obviously doesn't have a lot of MR, has that Wit's End primed, but a lot of resistance to shred from Chocolate. If he uses his full cooldown, you'd at least expect that ultimate to have to come out in response. Nax goes aggressive here. Q does a lot of damage to Crownie, but he gets a lot of damage in the face as well.
A little bit of hesitance there from Akabane. W'd forward, but didn't commit to the engage. Could have done as well. And with the Baron, they're not Baroning up the wave in the mid lane, actually. Got Checo, the one pushing in, the only person without the Baron. And you can see that at this stage, clearing out these waves even with the Baron, not too hard.
Well, he goes quite aggressively. He does have that saving grace of the Guardian Angel if he does go a step too far. Chocolate over the wall. And slowly but surely for GameWard, a lot of the poke advantages. You remember the last time they were here, the last time they had Baron. Chocolate was able to go over the wall and do a lot more damage with a lot of the more resistances burnt up now. Built up, rather. Stasis available as well. Engage from Camilleus on to Rika. Rika goes into Stasis. Crownie's out using E. Gangplank ult goes down. Get the mid turret. Have to use the GP ult for it, though.
Base broken open, though, and now that puts a little bit of pressure on BDS Academy to make sure that their macro game is on point for fear of losing this mid inhibitor at any given moment.
Engage onto Rika. Kale ult has to get used. Seen him do that twice now this game. Second time. Adam uses that ult a little bit too preemptively. Save a life that wasn't going to go down, I don't think.
Either way, though, now this game we're pushing forward and continuing. Shio very close up in that front line as Akabane forced to clone away. They're doing a good job here, BDS Academy, slowly chipping away at the GameWard health pools, and they've got the fountain to regenerate from. GameWard have nothing. They have a red buff on Inax so that he can get a bit more health back. But Chocolad's damage is going to stick. There's nothing that he can do other than a base and TP back in. But that's going to spell the end. The Baron has been elapsed, and BDS Academy lose a mid lane tier 3 turret, but no inhibitor. Overall, pretty good for them.
I just want to say I'm not a massive fan of the Shadow Flame from Rika here. I feel like you're at the point where the benefits they give you have been somewhat outscaled. I would have much preferred him to just go for straight up Rabadons. As for the raw damage output, I feel like you somewhat need it at this point, especially being solo AP. I can understand being solo AP, wanting those resistance sheds, but I think in my estimation, I'd be wrong. I believe the Rabadons would have been better here.
Mid lane inhibitor does fall.
A lot of damage onto Dream Race. He gets engaged on. He's down almost immediately. Didn't even have time to lock it there, I believe. Another engage onto Crown. He has to go into stasis. They can just wait him out here. Inex has W. He has to flash away here. Shio's going low as well. Pops X-Drinker. Akabane's out as well. That's ult. But it's 2 inhibitors for GameWard. The base has well and truly been cracked now.
Really good stuff. It's Melonic that starts off the fight. One barrel chain combo does about 1,000 damage to 2 members of BDS Academy, and from there on in, the rest of GameWard jump forward. They take down Dreamer Ace, and that's enough to open up the bot lane inhibitor. Look at the crits that are coming through from Melonic. We talked about this Kale scaling up into the late game, being a monstrous then. But Melonic himself, GP, 4 items every single game there's a GP in it. You're always concerned that there's that late game monster that's slowly going to come down from the top lane, and Melonic has shown us why already. We haven't yet seen the true patented GP one-shot, but Melonic is getting incredibly close.
Yep, indeed is. Has that double resistance shred as well as Chocolade. He's got that Collector and LDR. Completely batter and bruise through the champions like Orianna, like the Kale. They just don't have that armor on them, especially Crowny as well. If he lands some of these barrel combos in a big team fight, it's just going to be absolutely devastating for BDS Academy.
The good thing about these respawn timers now, obviously the Drake in 15 seconds, the Baron in 45, is GameWard don't need to commit too much to this Infernal Dragon. It can be taken down very swiftly with just Inax, potentially Akabane there as well. And then they can default back up to the Baron, and they'll still be there in time for the respawn. And there's nothing really that BDS Academy can do about it, because they have to manage these bot side waves as well. The bot lane inhibitor being down when Baron spawns is one of those things you hate to see as a BDS player, because you know you have to commit a TP to make sure that nothing happens on the other side of the map. We're going to find a quick chain, but Crowny and Rika are your only TPs, and Adam down on that bot side can't go because he doesn't have the teleport available. Your best way at clearing waves can't clear the important waves in the bot side.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's got to be the massive pressure mounting for BDS Academy. You can see the things coming down from GameWard that wave is coming here. They know they have time to play with here. It's important to note as well is that Melonic and Chocolate don't have that teleport to punish. But they can push and pull here. Engage comes onto Dream Race again. He's caught out again. It's a theme that keeps pervading through this game. Dream Race, just a slight touch of the hand far off the side there. Shio's trying to find a way in. He's going to get blocked out by Chocolate. Maybe the Baron as well. Chocolade's still chasing though. Has flash available.
Well, that's going to be it. It's the Baron secured for GameWard. Another pick going their way. And Dream Race continues to be the thorn in the side of BDS at this point. Camilius continually pulling the trigger and finding those smart engages, those members that are just a little bit too far forward. Now with 2 inhibitors down, GameWard's plan is very linear, very simple. We focus the one lane without an inhibitor taken, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, this is going to be the final remnants of BDS Academy's base. Talk about that crit there. Crowny taken down to around 40% HP. He's going to have to get healed up by Adam. They're trying to stop this top lane inhibitor turret from going down, but it's going to be too little too late as this next wave comes in.
They've got a bit of time. Mid and bot are still fairly far away, and Adam can clear those incredibly quickly. But can they defend this third tier 3 turret?
Trying to at least. The barrels mini-game being played. Chocolade's over the wall here. A lot of damage, but Crowny does not have E now for a few seconds. Mid-wave is coming in now. It's going to take one more auto.
They can just walk up and hit this at this point. Checo gets incredibly chunked.
Checo takes so much damage there. That's the potency of Adam there. You get that stacked on the wave. Does so much damage with the Kraken Slayer as well.
Final inhibitor now. BDS Academy, they need to look to make their stand at some point. If they give all 3 inhibs, it's going to be a very difficult game. But they have no engage. They have no way of getting into the fight to start it off in the first place. GameWard are in such a good position.
They have to finish it off now. They're in a good position. It's all about execution. BDS Academy holding on now. They're looking for the engage onto Camilius. They find Camilius. It's all about resets now. Gangplank ult comes out. Adam's going to have to ult here. He goes very low. He has stasis. They found Viego. They found Shio. Adam never gets the ultimate off. Adam never finds a chance here. And GameWard take the execution by the throat, and they're going to be closing this game out.
Very nice team fighting X darts into the backline, finds a couple kills, and GameWard controlled, slow, meticulous dissection of BDS Academy. Game of the day, or game number 1 of the day, starts out with GameWard going 5-1.
Absolutely, and against competition that we've spoken about, though they've had a disappointing start to the season, you've got some real star power on this roster. You expect them to do a little bit better today, show some signs of life. Unfortunately, it's a similar thing to what we always see. Akabane